the RPG General Podcast, or the rpgmg. Brought to you today by Old Man Co. Weaponize your elderly today.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the RPG Maker General Podcast, or the rpgmg, your one-stop shop for everything RPG Maker. This is Cody, aka Marpix, and with me today is Karbonic.
Hey guys, it's me, Karbonic.
Blue Sky Robyn.
Hey, it's me, guys. I'm Karbonic.
and after a long absence, Pedro.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Pedrovin, and welcome.
Hey there. So, first off, not a whole lot of news in the RPG Maker realm per se, but what do we got going on in the wide world of news for video games, Karbonic?
Oh, well, I mean, specifically, we there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with Polygon and reviewers, and how good reviewers specifically have to be with games.
Oh,
would you like to? You seem more interested in that, so would you like to talk about it?
Sure. So, from what I could gather on V, because I haven't done a bunch of research myself, it seems like Polygon did a review of Doom, but they were clearly not good at Doom, and thus scored it poorly, after which a bunch of people told them to get good, which I kind of agree. And then Polygon, in response, penned an article about how you don't have to be good at games to review games. And personally, I disagree. The Nostalgia Critic, he made a video a couple weeks ago about the job of a critic and what they're supposed to do. And the job of a critic is to be qualified at what they're reviewing. You know, you want a film reviewer to have watched a lot of film. You want a book reviewer to have read a lot of books. You want a music reviewer to have listened to a lot of music, etc., so on. And the real job of a critic/reviewer isn't to tell you what's good and what's bad, but to broaden your perspective and give you insight that you may not have had yourself. My favorite example of this, which is very recent, is our own Final Fantasy retrospective, shameless plug, where we had a commenter who thought FF6 was, kind of okay, but then once I brought up the perspective tricks they use where you have stairs that go sideways and these things that haven't been used in other RPGs, it gave them new insight into FF6, and their opinion of it went up a little bit. Now, you don't necessarily have to be good at video games to be a good game reviewer, but you have to be really good at something. You have to bring a perspective. And I would prefer it to be video games, but if you have something else, that's great too.
Yeah, you have to be at least competent.
Okay, so I sort of thought about something that would be maybe a good way to go about doing reviews if you aren't good at games. I think a good idea maybe would be... Oh, also, I just had some water so I can talk like a normal human being. A good idea would probably be to maybe make like an outsider type review, where it's like, is this a good game for someone who doesn't play video games, or is this a good starting game? Maybe for people who are interested in video games but aren't already good at it.
Kind of like Coden's Clueless Gamer.
Yeah. But if you're sort of...
fair.
If you're sort of gonna be the person who's talking to... As in, like, you're gonna be the person who's preaching to a bunch of people who already know their stuff, you probably should know your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't walk in off the street and talk video games to a bunch of video game people if you don't know about video games yourself, because if your job is to review something, they expect you to be competent at it. And how are you supposed to understand what gamers are looking for if you are not a gamer yourself? Now, let's say someone just played COD 4, Modern Warfare. It's a thrilling roller coaster ride. The graphics are still pretty good, but the mechanics are dated. And if you've never played a shooter before, you're going to think it's the hottest shit on the planet. Now, as far as I go, I've played a couple Call of Duty games, and I know that the whole trick is to cross the invisible line so your teammates move up so you can cross the next invisible line. And a reviewer who has not played Call of Duty is not going to know that and will not weigh that as part of their experience.
Yeah. I mean, overall, it's kind of like giving a book report after reading half of the first chapter. You're probably gonna trip. Man, that analogy just doesn't work.
Oh, you know what? It doesn't matter. I've got a great
Fun
story
enough for
about
me.
this. I've been holding on to this story for, when was that? First grade. I've been holding on to this story for 20 years, and I finally get to tell it.
Is it about lesbian koalas?
Actually, it is. How funny of
go
you to
on.
guess.
Yes, I was thinking about lesbian koalas when I was 5. No, but
Whoa, we got a real smart one. First grade at age 5.
no. What the fuck was it? So I was in first grade, which was probably I was 20, but still 20 years. I'm 27 now. So
Yeah.
first grade. There
So
was
you were 20 years old in first grade.
Shut the fuck up.
You were 5 years old 20 years ago, and now you're 27. That's some really good math there.
God, whatever. I'm rounding. It's been a long day. Anyway, so we had like little book projects that were like displayed on shelves, and like sometimes they would have projects by kids from the previous year because they were drawn well or whatever. It's like, okay, cool. There was one, it was like Sherlock Fox, whatever. It was a fox who was a detective, and the book was The Case of the Missing Wigs. And on the cover you
Just
have...
stop you here, right here, Cody. Okay.
What?
It's pronounced Slylock Fox. Get your shit correct.
You
the first
remember this too? You read this? Okay, well, anyhow, Slylock Fox, thank you. You're a good man. All I remember is that the book was The Case of the Missing Wigs. And you had, like, the fox on the cover, and then you had, like, 2 flamingos hiding in a tree, and then you had, like, a house, all right? It didn't explain very much. Now, I'm like, okay, well, this book looks pretty cool, and there was a project on a shelf. It had been there since I got there, and the project said some ladies stole the wigs, and I'm like, oh, all right, well, whatever, fuck, I'll read it. This book is like 20 pages long because it's for first graders. No ladies stole the fucking wigs. It was Sticky Claws J the whole time. He stole the wigs. You find this out like 3/4 of the way through the book. This motherfucker got his project on that shelf all year, and he didn't even read the goddamn book. I've been holding on to that for 20 years.
I don't even know what's going on right now, but it's pretty
But-
funny.
But that is a perfect allegory. He gave a review of a book he didn't read, and then it got put on a shelf because you have another unqualified moron who read his review.
Jesus Christ. It's like we're unearthing something. Did something else happen to you when you were in first grade?
The lesbian koalas!
No, just that. But it's deep. It's been there. Thank you, Freud. But you kind of see my point, though.
Yeah, in a way
Yeah,
I do.
The book probably had lesbian koalas in it.
You know, it's been so long I don't even remember. There was probably a koala, and their orientation was not discussed, leaving it up to audience interpretation.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, but in that specific circumstance regarding Shylock Fox, I was the more qualified person, and I did not feel enlightened reading that book, that panorama that kid did. Not enlightened at all. So you have to be at least as qualified as your audience, and unfortunately for us, the teacher was not qualified at all and had not read the book and did not fact-check him.
Yeah.
I still have memories of first grade. It seems like it was only yesterday. Man, last week was a long time ago. But anyways, I had this one old, really old, really kind of, she's dead now, teacher, substitute teacher, that's what I was looking for. And she was not very qualified. A lot of people failed one thing because this one kid spelled rat, W-R-A-T, and that the teacher actually thought that's how rat was spelled.
What the hell?
So all of the other kids got it got an X on that. Like, no, you're wrong. It's supposed to be spelled W-R-A-T, you stupid children.
So I just looked it up. WRAT is a radio station in New Jersey, and their call sign is WRAT The Rat, and it's a rock station.
Whoa. Okay, we need to make the connection here. What's going on? Okay, so first grade, and it connects to me. So the first podcast. What was going on in the first podcast? It was
The first podcast died. Oh no! It's the Illuminati confirmed.
Whoa, holy
Oh
shit.
my god, I hated my first grade. Actually, I hated most of school. I started to think that I had some sort of learning disability because I can't pay attention to anything. So school was hell to me. I'm only really happy now that I'm in college and study something I like.
Yeah.
Oh
Terminal
man,
retardation must be hard.
you guys just
I'm probably a retard.
I'm joking, man. I'm not.
But
I'm in a pretty mean-spirited feeling tonight.
you guys just reminded me of like another bad teacher. We're just talking about teachers
Okay,
now.
we can't be talking about teachers. Let's get off this topic. Pedro, you were saying something earlier specifically about reviewers. You were asking us a question.
Is Doom a good game?
Yes, that.
No.
Yes, that. What exactly do you think of reviewers who have a point, but they're complete dicks about it? As in, they have a terrible personality, they're dicks to everyone, but they have legit criticism about the game or the movie, whatever it is that they're reviewing.
Now, I think we should clarify to whoever's listening in today. You're talking about reviewers who are just mean no matter what, rather than it just being a persona for their reviews.
Yeah, they use criticism as sort of a shield to say, yeah, I'm an asshole, but I'm right. What are you gonna do about it? Are you the kind of guy who can't take criticism? And that's what
Okay. Okay, that actually changes something. The fact that if they're using criticism as a shield to just be a dick, then I think they're just kind of a dick using criticism as a shield. However, I feel if it's the other way around and they're there for the point of criticism and they just happen to be dicks, that's slightly better.
Yeah, there are the person I can think of. The first one I can think of is like Yahtzee Croshaw from like Zero Punctuation. He's a game reviewer. He's like okay, average-ish at playing games, he says, and all his reviews are like kind of scathing, but he does point out the good parts and the bad parts of everything.
Yeah, he just doesn't like multiplayer a whole awful lot.
Oh yeah,
But you're talking about Pedro. You're talking about reviewers who are dicks to people on the internet, right? Or are you talking about like in their reviews?
No, as in people in general. As in they're dicks to the reviews itself.
So they're just dicks to everyone, but they happen to be good at reviewing games.
Yeah. How do you feel about?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I'll start. I view reviewers who are huge dicks in the same way I view Windsor being a huge lech. He would not be that way if it didn't work. Now, our friend Windsor likes to get laid, and he will make sure that he is a person who gets laid, so he becomes the type of person that will get laid all the time. Now, a person who is a dick but reviews games, they have to be very qualified at their subject in order to justify being a dick, because if they are wrong, they no longer have that sense of righteousness and rightness that comes with the card to be a dick. Like, well, you had to hear it from me because no one else knew, and you're a goddamn moron. I think that there are a lot of those types of people, and I think that's kind of the rap 4chan has gotten, because you're allowed to be anonymous, and that allows people to be really harsh, but also say their honest opinion. Now, the people that don't do it anonymously and actually are proud to be dicks, they have mental issues, and they should really talk to someone about it.
Yes, some sociopathy thing or whatever.
Yeah, but, I think that they exist, and as long as they are giving you criticism that helps you make a better game, it's good to have some thick skin about it and then write them off, because no amount of their hate is going to change who you are. I hate to sound super Tumblr right now, but haters gonna hate, right?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, like, I definitely kind of have something against like, in general, I don't like people who are just dicks for no reason on the internet. I think if you're, at least if you're trying to be someone on the internet, I think one of the biggest things, like, especially if you're a game dev or something, is to just kind of be nice to people. It sounds stupid and like cheery and lame, but I don't know, like having a nice personality and being friendly to people is a big plus when it comes to being a game dev or even a reviewer or something.
Yeah, like I said once, you need to be humble about it. You need to know how to give and receive criticism.
Yeah.
If you're a dick, people are gonna hate you, and you don't want that.
Yeah. Especially in the age of the internet, no one has the time or energy to go to war with the entirety of the internet for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and if you say if you say only one thing wrong, the entire internet can go after you. So you gotta be careful too.
Yeah, and but that's another thing about the internet. Like, you are clearly wrong. Time for a Twitter storm.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
Well, there is a writer that I've paid attention to. You might know Neil Gaiman.
Oh.
He once, he
No, I don't think I
once
heard
had.
of him.
He's the guy who made the Sandman series of comics about dreams and death and all that fun stuff. Anyway, he's really his writing style and his visual novels are really trippy. But like he once said something like to be a good like writer or creative person or whatever, you have to be like three things. You have to be nice, you have to do good work, and you have to be on time. And you don't actually have to be all three. You can make it with just two of those and you'll be fine. If you're a dick, you'll be fine if you can do good work and you pass it on time. If you're late, it's fine if you're doing good work and you're a nice guy. And if your work's not so great, if you're a nice guy and you pass it on time, you're still fine. So, like, yeah.
Wait, what was the third one?
Like, you have to submit your projects on time, and you have to submit your projects on time. You have to be a good person, and your work has to be good. Yeah. So I guess the thing most of us have a problem is because like some guys are a dick, and then after they are a dick, we figure out that their game is kind of just not that great. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think, that goes back to the dick reviewers where they have to be that much better than you so that they can maintain their dick license. Because if they have someone that is as good a critic as them, or as good a game designer, or as good a writer, or what have you, if they're exactly as skilled, but they're nice, then you have officially lost all your work, because everyone only put up with you because you were the most qualified person in the room.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but like once they find someone who isn't a total ass, then hey, guess what? You're out the door. They're done. Goodbye. Nice knowing you.
Yeah, but like no one's that perfect. I think. I'd like to think.
No. I'm not talking about anyone being perfect. I'm talking about people being a dick. Okay, like you think about like Howard Hughes just doing whatever the hell he wants because he's rich. Like it's that type of eccentricity. Or like the mad scientist. That's always the trope, is the mad scientist. You have a guy who has absolutely zero social skills, but he's the only one who knows how to build the atomic ray gun or the rocket ship or whatever. So they So they have to put up with him because he's the only one who can do it. That's like, so TV tropes. The TV tropes that describes that is bunny ears lawyer. A lawyer who's so good he'll wear bunny ears into court because he can. Like, he'll still win the case wearing the bunny ears because he's just that fucking good. You're not going to tell him to take them off because he's still going to win the fucking case.
He must be using the Chewbacca defense. Oh boy.
I can see that. Yeah. But that's the rule, kids. If you're not skilled, be nice. And if you're not nice, you better be skilled.
Yeah, you gotta try to be both.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it'd be nice, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
man. Anything else in the news?
Oh, man.
Doom looked like an okay game. I haven't played it myself, but it looks okay. It seems fun. I'll just assume, because I never played it, but Polygon did, I guess. So, so I never played it myself, but it looks alright. But that's just coming from someone who doesn't know about Doom all that much.
What I've heard on V is that the single player is great. It's basically classic Doom, except has like the takedowns and some other stuff. Like the level design's great. No one's complaining about that. The thing that they're taking issue with is the multiplayer, because I guess the gameplay of the multiplayer deviates from the single player in a way that makes it resemble COD. Like you have loadouts and all this other stuff going on.
I kind of see that.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta appeal to the masses, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's kind of hard to make multiplayer where you literally rip and tear the enemy team apart. So, yeah.
I think that would be hilarious, though. Like, let's say, you know, everyone has a health, and their health bar goes completely to zero. Then the other guy has the option to do the execution with the rip and tear. I think that'd be hilarious.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind like you stagger a guy and execute them. I mean, there are games that did that. Like I remember playing a nice multiplayer game of The Last of Us. You know, a game that was primarily for the single player story, but the multiplayer is pretty good. Because you could temporarily disable the enemy and execute them, but you had to be smart about it, or you had to do whatever. Like for example, you needed to have a shiv to execute people, and you have to make the shiv on the spot, or if you directly smoke grenade someone, you could execute them there because they're directly caught in it. Or you could execute them and it was kind of fine. But I guess Doom didn't want to do it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would have been smart for Doom to make the multiplayer like the single player, simply because you're not looking for the COD audience, I don't think. With the single player and how they designed it, you are specifically going for Doom. And I think to differentiate yourself, even if the multiplayer is imbalanced, I think having an imbalanced Doom-style experience would be better than having a mostly balanced, homogeneous COD-style experience.
Yeah. Overall, I just kind of feel that multiplayer is kind of in a bad place these days. When it comes to video games.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just because
remember
COD did something that really, really stuck and was really, good in a way. I'm not going to knock the style of Call of Duty's multiplayer, but it's just something that everyone tried to emulate afterward.
Yeah, remember how they delayed Mighty Number 9 because of multiplayer, and how no one wanted that?
I don't think anyone wants anything to do with Mighty Number 9, though.
Mighty Number 9 can even cure cancer at this point. I think people will still hate it.
Play this game, it'll cure your cancer.
I mean, you can cure cancer, but you're still a shitty game.
Oh.
How ironic.
I don't
would it
know.
be?
I can't say it hasn't come out yet, but I find that trailer they released pretty funny.
Wait, Mighty Number 9 isn't out yet?
No,
I
it
thought
will
it
be
was.
out June.
It's
It'll be out in
vaporware.
Oh.
I find it funny how a new Doom game was able to come out before Mighty Number 9.
Right?
Wasn't Ukulele didn't the Ukulele start production after Mario Number 9, and it still looks better?
Oh yeah. Ukulele happened like way after Mighty Number 9.
And it is scheduled to come out earlier, I believe.
Yeah. Also, okay, so I'm not gonna say anything, but what was the deal with a lot of people saying Mighty Number 9 was just like a scam?
So I've actually looked into a lot of Mighty Number 9, and what I can tell is Keiji Inafune was not necessarily the creator of Mega Man. He came onto production of Mega Man 1 about halfway through the game's development. And the other problem is that he was a businessman, not a creative man. So he didn't actually help with a lot of the level design or making the character or the enemies or anything. He was doing more of the number stuff, which is important, but more behind the scenes. And you can tell, because of the Kickstarter, it sounds like he wants to make Mighty Number 9 a franchise before it has any product behind it. He wants a TV show, he wants a movie, he wants a line of toys, and then maybe possibly a video game will come out as well.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot. That sounds scarily a lot like the RPG Maker General, so...
What, we wanted our own toy line? Where's my Robyn action figure?
Essentially, he was too busy blowing the budget.
Man,
They even had the audacity to make a new Kickstarter just for voice acting. I don't know why. I mean, this should be a topic. I don't know why some people insist in putting voice acting in games. It's just distracting. Especially on a platform when you hear the same grunt all the time.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say two things, actually. The first thing is a bit less serious. If you just wanted to a RPG Maker General podcast toy line, you could just take a series of troll dolls, those old troll dolls, and write our names on it, and then get a Ken doll and write a Windsor on it. And got it. You got the whole line.
What will my doll be?
Oh man.
Curves. It's just a ball with curves.
Oh, trolls have the wacky hair too. It'd be great.
Yeah. Pedro could be the blue troll doll.
Aw. Okay.
And the second thing is about the whole toy line and everything planned. I think he might have been trying to, with that at least, emulate Pokemon, because Pokemon was like planned from the start. They either did an interview or a documentary about it, how it was just like the people who, like the guy who created, the guy who came up with the idea for Pokemon, like pitched it and they liked it, and then there was just this like whole kind of scheme that came up with it after it was like semi-popular in Japan, I think, to just like completely flood the American market with it. In the late 90s and early 2000s. And lo and behold, we have Pokemon games coming out today, and Pokemon is pretty much known by every American.
I don't know why, it all looks the same thing to me. There, I said it.
Oh, whoa. Are you accusing are you accusing Pokemon of same face?
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
it's
now
mostly-
we're making enemies with
don't
Nintendo.
The games don't seem to change much between sequels, so yeah. It all looks the same to me. I don't know why I would play the new Pokemon if, for example, I played the last one. What's the difference? A slightly different story and a bunch of
The
new Pokemon?
competitive scene!
Come on.
Okay,
Also,
I
mind
mean-
you, Pokemon doesn't have some sort of rich story, so it doesn't make sense to get a sequel because story is just gonna be meh, like the last one.
As long as they
Some
keep
of the-
printing money.
Some of the stories are okay, but I don't know. I mean, there's a pretty big step up from Pokemon Red and Blue to Pokemon X and Y, though. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'd say wait 10 years between getting each Pokemon game.
Fun fact, I actually bought Crystal and then 12 years later got Pokemon Y. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, Y's okay, but
It's really okay is how I would describe those games because they're okay.
Something I wanted to bring up, I actually thought about this at work, is games like Pokemon, where they are for kids. And as we become adults, I don't think we should expect Pokemon to grow up with us. They were our introduction to RPGs. They were a lot of people's introduction to RPGs. And they should probably stay that way. You know, because if you look at, like, Batman, where he got like that dark and gritty reboot, that really wasn't who Batman was. We don't need these people growing up with us all the time, you know?
Yeah.
I guess, but even though the RPG that got me into the genre was actually Super Mario RPG and not Pokemon, I actually never really liked Pokemon. And in the topic of battle systems, I could never really get into the games because of that. Those one-on-one turn battles, I don't know, it's just boring.
Yeah, Pokemon's system is really simplistic. And they tried to shake it up with like horde battles and double battles and triple battles. But
it's just the same thing, but with more.
Yeah, just make a party already.
Well, double battles is kind of okay, I guess. It's a little more interesting. It's a little smart. I'm talking like this because I used to play it. Fuck me. Never mind.
Okay. Actually, why don't we save this for talking about the topic or not talking about the topic, depending on what Cody decides is happening. Do you want to talk about Project Progress?
Yes.
Cut that out, by the way.
That's a great segue, Pedro, but we still need to talk about Project Progress. So, since you're the guy that got us there, how are you doing, Pedro? How's your game coming along?
It's coming along fine, but I have other projects in mind that I kind of need to juggle between them all, so I don't have time to work on all of them at once. So, progress is pretty slow. And in the topic of battles, I have the attention span of a fish, so I made the battles... Some tried to make the battles active, but I couldn't exactly find a way how. So I used that whole ATB system, and I cranked up the frame rate of the battles to like 80 or something. So if you saw that video where I showed the battle system, it plays at like scenic speed, because I wouldn't have the attention span to play my own game if I had a normal RPG Maker speed in there. So yeah, that's about it.
Cool. All right, Robyn, how about you?
Pass. No, I did that last week. Sorry. Okay. So what have I been doing? Well, the RPG Maker General's collaboration project has been passed on to an author named Bubbles, I guess. I hope they're doing okay. I have no idea. There's been no word yet, but you know that.
I don't know. It's good to hear the Powerpuff Girls are on it.
Oh boy. So instead of that, I've been like working on my own my real job and stuff, but like also been sneaking in some time working a little bit on my one other project. It's called Path and Pathos, and it's still kind of I kind of conceptualized this a long time ago, but like I've been doing some art. I made one song. I posted it, and like the song isn't bad, I guess. It's kind of repetitive, but I just made it for like trial purposes, and that's all I did so far.
Okay.
It's always good to start on your like kind of your own thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad you're getting your own kind of thing started.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to do this for a while.
You're free from the shadow of the collab after 6 months.
I'm sorry, Firgov. I surpassed your record. Oh man. But you know, it's kind of cool that like I'm doing my own thing, cuz like it's tough, but at least I feel like it's it's, I don't know, it's liberating.
That's cool. All right, Mr. Karbonic, what's going on with you, my friend?
Okay, dashboard is very close to almost done. I actually had to push it back a bit. I was planning on releasing it like a week ago or so, but life caught up with me, and I had to do a bunch of actual real life responsibilities and stuff. So it had to be pushed back. But I'm working on the very final touches right now, so I'm pretty excited about that.
All right, and that's everybody.
What about you, Cody?
No, that's everybody.
Okay,
Cody.
what?
Cody, what's going on with that thing? It's called Defeat the Darkness.
Defeat the darkness.
You've read your derps. So I've been lending moral support to a friend of mine, Lefoulet, who's been drawing some art. I commissioned her like a long time ago, and she's finally getting it done. As far as like stuff for the actual series, it's been at a standstill because I've been deathly ill. I spent 2 weeks ago, I took a week off and traveled all the way across the country for a wedding, and then I spent the past week and a half deathly ill after said trip. Yeah. So
That sucks.
yeah, but I mean that's travel for you. I haven't flown since before 9/11. Like my last plane ride was to Disneyland in the late 90s.
Oh boy.
Have you been
Yeah.
afraid ever since?
Been afraid? Hell no. No, it was great. I took a bunch of pictures, dude. Like, I haven't been in a plane since I became an adult, and I loved looking down at the ground and like you could see how the clouds moved, and it was like looking at like a world map in an RPG, but in real life. You could see the cars driving. It was great.
Oh my god, I hate flying. I have this irrational fear of planes, so I really hate it.
You know what?
I try like not to sleep before flying, so I can pass out in the plane. But it doesn't always work, and I just arrive out tired.
Yeah, and you can't recline in those seats, so you have to like sleep straight up, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Oh man. I never had a fear of flying. I just had a fear of doing all the packing garbage that came after. That sucked for me.
Yeah, that's the most fun part for me.
Fuck you.
Ah.
Civil War!
Now we get to move on to our main subject, battle systems. Pedro brought up Pokemon a little bit earlier. I think that'd be a fun starting point. Now, RPGs get kind of a bad rap because people outside the genre feel the battle systems are the same. And to an outside observer, they kind of are. Like, instead of pressing buttons to get responses, you're choosing everything from a menu. There's a lot of numbers involved, almost always hit points. You have to manage stat values and that kind of stuff. But once you actually start playing RPGs and you get used to how menu combat works, you start to learn the intricacies of each. And I think Pokemon is a great place to start since we've all kind of played that. As Pedro said, it's one-on-one, and whoever has the higher speed goes first. And it's kind of simplistic that way. Guys, your thoughts on Pokemon?
Okay, for Pokemon, I think it's a good starting thing. Although it's okay, so there's all of the people who are people who like competitively play. And they are constantly talking about like EVs or whatever. I'm not very deep into that, and I don't really get that. But I think Pokemon's a very good entry thing because someone who's never played RPG games or a kid is probably not going to want to like really get deep into how RPG Maker combat works. However, Pokemon also gets the sort of rock paper scissors kind of thing with their typings that allows to create at least some sort of extremely simple strategy to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which pretty much anyone can understand.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think it's kind of an empty battle system if you're more into like more advanced type stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like a kid or someone who's never played an RPG before, there's enough depth there that they will understand the concept of speed and using stab moves, which is same type as oh god, I forgot.
Oh no, man! I wouldn't think that they'd know what stabs are.
Well,
I think from a kid's point of view, they'd probably be like, "Oh, this element is strong against that, so I'll use that," and then they'll be like, "Oh, this number is better than the other number, so I'll use this for changing moves."
Well, Stab is a natural evolution of that, where, Pikachu is an electric-type Pokemon, so of course him using Thunderbolt is going to be much stronger than, say, a Meowth using Thunderbolt.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, the game doesn't tell you, so you kind of just have to, like, find out on your own. It's not explained, it doesn't show up anywhere. There's no book that says Stab, there's nothing that indicates it at all, not even an NPC.
Yeah, the thing is that since Pokemon, as I said earlier, was very much designed to take the young demographic by storm, I think it's got a good understanding of the fact that kids tend to really hate tutorials as well as reading. Something I've realized is that if you play Pokemon like a little kid does, it becomes a much harder game. As in, like, if you just rush through it and you, like, don't actually grind or, like, train it or anything, or actually try, if you just rush through the game, it becomes a lot harder. Which is kind of funny, or at least that's how I played it before I got smarter. But it's a I think it's kind of doesn't really need. I think you kind of learn the hard way, the typings and how they match up, rather than through a tutorial.
Yeah.
Well, there was the first guy at the gym. He says like, "Oh, Rock is weak against."
Oh yeah, that's right. At every gym, this guy basically. There's always this guy who basically tells you how to win.
Yeah.
Except he only tells you the element thing for the first gym, and then never anywhere else. What an asshole.
Yeah.
Oh, the kind of battle system I like? It's the one where you can actually dodge the attacks. So it involves skills. It's not just about numbers.
Oh, you
and
mean
one good
like,
thing about that is that, like Mario and Luigi,
yeah,
where you can actually dodge, where you can dodge and retaliate. Because those kinds of RPGs, if you want to challenge yourself, you could just skip the battles and go straight to the boss. So it's more about your skill, about dodging, Those are the kind of RPGs I like. And if I knew how to do that in RPG Maker, I would put that in my own game, but I don't know how, so...
Yeah, I kind of have the same problem. I wish I could do that. In fact, there's a bunch of concept sketches that that I have around of like various different things I originally planned, but are just not possible with RPG Maker VX Ace. And that really kind of makes me sad. But I think that for me, RPG games are kind of the only places where I feel it's kind of acceptable to include at least a form of QuickTime event.
Yeah.
For like different dodges, but you have to kind of dress it up so it doesn't look like one. I think the Mario and Luigi series do it really well because each special attack in that series is basically a QuickTime event, but they make it seem a lot more skillful and a lot cooler because of just like they make it really stylish looking.
Yeah, and
they also make it quick. One thing I didn't like about, say, Undertale is how some of the enemy attacks lasted too long, and they got too easy to dodge, so it got pretty boring really quick.
Yeah, especially when you have to take a couple turns to, do the action that makes them nice and then give them mercy.
What do you guys think about Undertale's battle system overall?
Boring.
Positive or negative? Boring?
Okay.
Boring because let's be honest, Undertale is a pretty weak RPG gameplay wise. People mostly like it for the story. And if Undertale didn't have the story it has, people probably wouldn't like it.
Yeah, there's really only like 3 or so fights in the game that I would call like sort of have or not deep, but are kind of more advanced. But overall, for the battle system, and when I have played Undertale, I've never actually played all the way through, so I'm kind of a shitty reviewer. Don't take this with a grain of salt. But my overall feeling from what I've seen is that since Toby Fox was definitely going for the sort of pacifist ideals and like the talk it out things, the actual offensive side of the battle system is kind of, I'd say, underdeveloped.
Yeah, and I think it goes against a couple normal RPG things like attack and defense on people don't matter. They're just two numbers that you get shown when you analyze people.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's neither here nor there. Like, it doesn't really grind my gears. It's just kind of like, okay, alright. But the other thing about Undertale, and I think we brought this up in, like, Podcast 8, is, you know, it's select the thing to make them nice, dodge the things, put mercy on them. And because Undertale embraces random battles, you are stuck with doing that over and over again, and it gets very tedious.
Yeah. I would also say
I
that
agree.
with some of the things, it feels like the options there's not a... I feel Undertale is kind of weak in the
Gameplay?
sort of... Or not gameplay, but like hard decision making. As in, when it comes to going the pacifist route, there aren't many things that are actually hard choices or anything. There aren't many parts of it that really pull into question the morality of the player.
Yeah. I think that...
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
go
I
ahead.
I like Undertale, but I gotta admit, it's a pretty weak RPG. So, I mean, you said what games would you say that... I'm sorry, I tripped a little. Could you please cut that out? Okay, please go on. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay, I think
Please
what
cut
you were...
that. Please cut that.
You know what? I'm not going to cut it out because I'm going to finish your sentence. You are trying to think of an RPG that introduces morality, and I can tell you right now, the first Fire Emblem does that expertly. The first Fire Emblem for NES, they do permadeath. But the thing about the first Fire Emblem is permadeath is a part of the game. It's expected and actually encouraged. You have, modern Fire Emblems where people, keep saving and resetting to try and save everyone. But in the first Fire Emblem, they expect people to die. They know that you are making noble sacrifices over here to get important units over here. And in fact, when you lose certain units, that unlocks certain chapters that allow you to get different units to replace them. And heck, you get reinforcements anyhow. And I believe that the first Fire Emblem is a rare example where you have to make those kinds of hard decisions.
Yeah. Also, I guess, like another game that I feel does morality pretty well, or just like hard moral choices, and it's not an RPG, but have you guys ever played, I might have said this already, but have you guys ever played Papers, Please?
Ooh, I have. It's
I've
No, I
played-
haven't.
I played the demo.
I heard about it, but I never played it.
Yeah. So Cody, you've played it?
I finished it, yeah.
Yeah, so you know that there are some parts of that game where it's like something comes up where it's like you can either kind of win and be the bad person or lose and be the good person.
Yeah.
But also okay, so even losing affects other people in bad ways in that game. So it's not like a matter of selfishness versus selflessness. There's the fact that you also have to take care of your family at the same time. So
Yeah.
it just all comes down to what the certain situation is.
And you can't get yourself
Yeah.
sent to the gulag either.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, one thing
Go ahead.
One thing I don't like about this whole morality system in RPGs is that sometimes the choices are too black and white. There is no, here's a good choice, here's a slightly bad choice, here's a neutral choice. It's always, here, be an angel or be a dick.
That is so true. Like, it reminds me of Fable, goddammit.
You ever played Infamous?
Be the paragon of goodness or be an asshole.
Yeah.
That's the only choice.
I heard about it, but I didn't play it.
Infamous, you're either a super villain or a superhero. And if you're a super villain, you like wear Hot Topic stuff and you're all like and you just kill people for no reason.
And your lightning is red. Ooh,
yeah,
lightning.
Yeah, your lightning becomes black and red, so it's like straight up Hot Topic. But if you're good, you're super happy, and you get the ability to bring people back from the dead. You literally become Jesus.
Yeah, and
if Jesus was a spark plug.
Yeah, and that issue extends to endings too, because there's always that thing where you see two choices, and you just know which one of them is going to lead to a good or bad ending. There is no slightly better ending. There is no slightly bad ending.
All right,
It's always here, pick A and get the bad ending, or which you're not gonna do unless you're curious, unless you already got the good ending first.
Yeah.
And there's here, pick B, save the guy, and get the good ending.
Okay, I'm gonna, as a wannabe writer, I'm gonna hold you right there. The reason they do that is because writing multiple endings for games takes a lot of time, and the kind of ending you expect in your imagination is far beyond what any writer's capable of. You know, every action, every decision you make, game writers can't account for all those, because they would make a very short game with maybe 2 options, and then they could actually fill it out. Like, look at the Stanley Parable, not the new one that, like, you know, got the big release, but the older one where you literally either obey or disobey the voice, and that gives you your endings. And the game takes, you know, probably 10 minutes to get through. But, you know, each choice is accounted for, but literally your choices are walk this way or walk this way. So now take, instead of a 20-minute game, you take a 5-hour game and you extrapolate it out. It's going to be a lot harder to account for every decision, especially like, you know, let's say a goal is to shoot the civilians, all right? That's your objective, is to shoot the civilians. But you leave one. They're a child. You leave them behind, and you go on with your thing. Now, you're still technically a dick, but you still spared the child. Now, as a writer, am I supposed to account for which people you spare and why? You know, I can't, because that's in your head. You know?
Yeah. Also,
I think I agree with that.
Here's the thing. We've really gone into morality in games, but my last thing, and I'm not going to say anymore, is just the fact that a lot of times morality makes no sense in video games. As in, like, why would me, I don't know, sparing this child or something, why would that affect what happens in, like, some world-ending event later on? Like, if my ending has nothing to do with the player's, like, actual choices, if it's like, if you do enough bad things, then bad things will happen or something, then it doesn't make sense. Like, ramifications actually kind of need to make sense, and I think that's a really hard thing to write.
Yeah, and especially with intent. So, let's say you spare the kid. Now, let's say you get all the way to the end of the game, and I was a fantastic writer. I remembered you spared the kid, but you spared them because you couldn't find them. You literally didn't see them. And then you have a flashback about how you saw the kid and spared him. That's not going to make any goddamn sense to you. Yeah. Yeah. Now that we got that out
Battle
of the way...
systems.
Yes, right. So,
You're talking about Undertale, but let's... What's another battle system?
I wanted to progress naturally, so... You know, after you go through Pokemon, you're gonna probably end up in like a Final Fantasy, and you're gonna deal with ATB, you know, active time battle.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest.
Oh, has anyone here ever played Mega Man Battle Network or the Star Force series?
I played 2.
I played Battle Network 1 and 2.
I haven't played them.
Yeah, that has to be my second favorite battle system. The first one being the Mario and Luigi one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily count Battle Network as an RPG, but I did like the movement and the ability to use battle chips.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I might get some hate from people who like Mega Man, but I do prefer the Star Force battle system to the Battle Network one, because everything's more streamlined, and everything feels a lot more action-oriented, I guess. It's tricky to explain. But yeah, I think it's better, especially with how I said before. I have the attention span of a fish. I am not a fan of slow battles. That's something Battle Network always had for me. The battles wouldn't get really intense until way later in the game. In some of the battles in Mega Man Star Force, especially the post-game ones, those can get really intense.
If I remember correctly, Battle Network, like, you picked your chips, and then you fought the people for a while, and then a bar filled up, and then once that bar was full, you could pick more chips.
Yes.
And I believe that in that kind of system, yeah, there's going to be a lot of time where you don't have action, because you're just waiting. Like, I've used all my chips, you gonna let me, huh?
Yeah, but you can still attack like that. You can still attack and dodge.
Yeah, but that's weak, though. That's weak sauce.
Yeah.
They actually kind of fixed that in Star Force, as in, you shoot your normal attack like a machine gun, so you actually feel like you're dealing more damage instead of just holding the button to charge.
Oh, they just let you hold the button down to auto fire now?
Yeah, they do in Star Force.
I see. So that's what was happening in that one video. Okay.
Okay, so how about we change kind of from favorite to, or unless you have any more stuff, Cody, would you want to switch to least favorite or worst in your opinions?
I'll segue us in right now, because when I was talking to Fergoff, may he rest in peace wherever he is, he told me that he hated ATB, and he liked Charge Turn Battle better, which is what FF10 uses. Now,
Yes.
if you set ATB to wait, which is where once a bar fills, no one's bar fills until you finish selecting command, that is basically CTB. It's basically Charge Battle.
Yeah.
Slower.
Yeah, that's the thing, is the slowness. And I think that slowness adds character, because you have, like, the fast character and their bars filling up fast, and, mentally that gives you an idea of their character. You can let your imagination play a little bit. It's not just about the battle. So I view ATB as superior to CTB because I feel more involved with the characters. If you're super strategic like Fergoff is, and you want to have, like, a deep, intense spreadsheet battle, then yeah, CTB is objectively better. So Fergoff thinks ATB is shit. I disagree. There you go.
Okay, so least favorite battle system, right? Yeah, most people listening now already hate me, so I'm just gonna say it. I don't like... My least favorite battle system is Pokemon. So yeah. Please be gentle with me. I'm still a virgin.
And then the commenters were not surprised.
We haven't bashed Pokemon for a good couple podcasts. I guess it's time.
Oh.
Yeah, go for it.
That time of the month again, eh? Okay.
No, but we've gone over it, and I can't specifically bash Pokemon, but the Pokemon with the higher speed goes first, unless you use a move like Extreme Speed or something to get around that. And there's the concept of sweepers in Pokemon, where you take one Pokemon with a bunch of strong abilities and you just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am through. And obviously, people try and squeeze a bunch out of the meta game, and, is Magneton better than Magnezone because he's faster? And it's very simplistic, but that's the point, I think. It's for kids. Let the kids have their fun. If you want depth, go play a different fucking game. Yeah,
that's what I did.
Yeah, I think that, it's simple, but it does what it needs to do. So I wouldn't call it my least favorite. I can't think of a least favorite personally. I just don't prefer it. My most favorite would be Final Fantasy Tactics because you get as much as you give from that system. You know, if you learn the mechanics, it's very, very rewarding. If you don't learn the mechanics, the game is still easy enough to beat.
Oh my god, it's a tactical RPG, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, and I'm not a fan of slow battles, so the main problem in Final Fantasy Tactics, or most tactical RPGs in general, is that most of the battles lasted 10 minutes, and if you die, you had to start all over. And I remember some fights in Final Fantasy Tactics that you had like 3 fights in a row, and if you lost on the last one, you had to go back all the way and just lost 30 minutes of your life. And I hated that.
You're thinking of...
The only thing that kept me going... The only thing that kept me going was the story that I really liked, but I couldn't really get into other tactical RPGs. I tried to like this guy, but I couldn't like it. It was just too grindy, too slow for me.
Somehow I think you're talking about Fire Emblem instead of FF Tactics for some reason.
No, I'm talking about Final Fantasy Tactics. Yeah.
Actually, I do have a least favorite battle system now that I'm thinking about it. So you got me thinking about Fire Emblem, and I have a lot of issues with Fire Emblem, specifically how they rank their battles, which I think is a dumb thing to do for Fire Emblem because the way to get stars is the way to avoid getting experience points and getting good units in the long term. What I think really takes the cake, though, is Shining Force. And I love Shining Force, don't get me wrong, but a fundamental flaw with Shining Force is group casting spells. So you know, like in tactical RPGs, you have like the plus shape where you can hit like these 5 squares, it's the 1 and then the 4 around it. In Shining Force, you cannot target an empty square. So if you have 2 enemies that are like kitty corner to each other on a diagonal, you cannot target the empty square next to either of them to hit them both. You have to wait till the 2 enemies are right next to each other, one of them is the center, and then another one gets blasted.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying, I guess.
Yeah. So, but we have evolved, we have come a long way since the Shining Force days, and that is a largely solved problem.
Is Shining Force that game where, like, I don't know, I think I'm talking crap. Oh man, it looks like I have to go soon somewhere. I have to go out to eat. So, is it okay if I leave right now?
No, your family will podcast with us.
Nah.
No, by all means, dude, if you need to. But
all right.
But
yeah, see ya.
But favorite and least favorite battle system, real quick, go.
Okay. The Wild Arms series, please play it. The hex map battle thing is really neato. And the one I dislike, I don't really know. There's not a lot of games that I dislike. I guess you can check last week's podcast for the one I hated. I found out that it's called Magna Carta. The weird fucking element system, that sucks hell. Or maybe I'm just stupid. Whatever. All right, thanks. I'll see you guys next time.
All right, later. Yeah, so Karbonic, did you go over your like favorite, least favorite, or did I like just talk over you?
I think he's dead.
Oh, they're both dead. Hey, awesome. All right, so then I'm just gonna keep talking then. So I like Final Fantasy Tactics system because it's very deep and rewarding, and I think that was a perfect game for me when I bought it at age 14, I believe. When I was 14, I had already played a bunch of other RPGs. Like I played Lufia for the Game Boy Color. I played Dragon Warrior, all this other stuff. So I had gained my basic understanding of RPGs. And moving into Tactics was phenomenal. It had all of these new mechanics that I could dissect. I could learn them. And it was very rewarding to do. You know, once you learn how Brave and Faith work, then you can learn how physical attack and magical attack work. And then you can go online and look up the damage value for spells. And you could treat it like a tactical game. there wasn't much that was hidden from you as a player. If you were smart enough, if you were tenacious enough, you could literally beat the game any way you wanted. And people have proved that time and time again with the single-class challenges, the solo single-class challenges. You know, people have beaten the game with Ramza as, I believe, Thief has been done. So just Ramza as a thief with thief equipment and thief abilities beats the game. And that's the kind of stuff I like, where, you know, you can't do that with laws and stuff that got introduced in FFTA, I don't think. You know, it's not so much about all these random mechanics messing with you. It's about how you use the mechanics in front of you. They aren't against you, they're just there. And then it's up to you as a player to work them into something that gets you through the map.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that kind of shit. It's like, okay, so here you go, MacGyver. You have 2 paper clips, a roll of duct tape, and the spell Fireball. Ready? Go.
Crickets.
Okay. Okay, so I guess I'll go into my least favorite, and I think many of us can agree that it's pretty bad. The default RPG Maker battle system.
Which one?
All of them.
So
it doesn't matter which one. It doesn't matter.
No, the one.
They are all bad.
The one in 2003 was pretty nice, I guess.
Have you ever played Off?
No, I haven't.
Off uses pretty much the default battle system for RPG Maker 2003, and I mean, you only sort of get it.
You're forced to use the default, right? You can't really put scripts in RPG Maker 2003.
Yeah, you have to do it completely through events if you want to change it. So have fun with that. But you sort of realize it when you have to play a full game using it, but it's definitely very bare bones, and it's definitely very, I guess you can say, off. But but yeah, I guess I could say my least favorite would be the one that's present in VX Ace or XP, because they're pretty similar.
So you're basically talking about the Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest style of battle system that they emulate.
Yeah, except I feel like it's sort of the Dragon Quest, but like sort of castrated version of it. Like that comes with RPG Maker. It's just very cut down, and it will not service your game to be working off the original one.
It's only I think the RPG Maker XP battle system. It's only really fun if one, you know how to make use of. I mean, what does a boss do if you hit it with fire spell or that? Or okay, I'm tripping now. Please cut that. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me try that again. I think the RPG Maker XP battle system, it's only really fun if you have 4 party members or more. Otherwise, if you're stuck with 1 or 2, it's really not that great. But if you know what you're doing, you can make something fun out of it.
Yeah, it's just overall, you're not, I guess, losing anything by using it, but you'll be gaining so much more by changing it up from the default.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I could see that. Now, I don't have much experience with the RPG Maker battle systems. I mean, I have a general understanding of most of them, and I've played the PS1 version extensively. I think they're actually a step up from the Dragon Quest games, simply because they have the same limitations, like you can only heal your party, you can only attack the enemy party. They still have buffs and debuffs in each, but the thing that RPG Maker has that Dragon Quest, I don't know when it got it, if ever, is actual spell elements. So I played Dragon Warrior 1 through 3 on Game Boy, and if you use a wind spell, an enemy who's weak to other wind spells may or may not actually be weak to that one, because of how each spell is its own separate element, basically. So you have, like, Blaze, which is the fire spell. So they could be weak to Blaze, Blaze More, and Blaze Most, but if you have some other type of fire spell, then they may not be weak to it because they forgot to code that part in.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's kind of unfair overall to compare kind of modern battle systems from a game today to something that ran on the Game Boy or ran on the NES. Just because of unless the said NES thing or Game Boy thing is done so much better, at which point it becomes rather tragic for the new one. But I don't know. I think the best way to set up something is just to have the player be in a way on their toes through some clever thing. Make the battles have weight in a way that includes the players, either emotionally or actively.
So you're saying focus more on plot battles than random encounters, really?
In a way.
Oh my god,
but,
have we talked about random encounters yet? In any of the earlier podcasts?
I think we did, because we talked about grinding.
Yeah, I really hate those. I mean, I'm trying to explore a dungeon. I don't want to fight a random monster at every 3 steps.
Yeah.
I have them in my games solely because I don't have enough time to make every single individual encounter. or
I mean,
more less that I don't have the time and more that I don't have the attention span.
All right, you guys keep talking.
wanna
I'm going to grab an important document and some water. I'll be right back.
as you wish.
Important. He's bringing his birth record. So yeah.
I mean-
what is your least favorite thing about them, though?
It's that I'm usually trying to explore a dungeon. I'm trying to get familiarized with the place, but I constantly get interrupted and going to another screen, which can really be distracting because when I'm back, I'm kind of lost where I was. I want to try to do something like this on my game where it's a radar system, and after a while, it detects an enemy, and you press a button to start the battle, so you have full control of when you're gonna start fighting.
Yeah. So you feel it
I mean,
takes away the player's control in a bad way and also sort of ruins the flow of gameplay that you have.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And I think, and if you have enemies on the map, you can just dodge them. That's better. But I really don't have the patience to make sprites for all the enemies in my game. And I think enemies in the map just don't work in RPG Maker because there's no real proper way to make the enemies have vision and just
Yeah.
properly follow you. Because if you ever use that command where an event follows you in RPG Maker and the thing gets stuck in a wall when there's a clear path to you, yeah, it's not really advanced. I don't really like it. It's either random encounters or nothing. Okay, I'm gonna stop interrupting you. Go on.
What game
no,
are you talking
I was gonna agree with Pedro is saying that he really doesn't like random encounters because they ruin the flow of gameplay and take away control from the player in a bad way, as well as the fact that it's too bad that RPG Maker kind of keeps you from, or RPG Maker really is kind of built in favor of them.
Well, yeah, because random encounters are a great way to pad out a game.
I was gonna say I'm really sad about the fact that RPG Maker's pathfinding, like their default pathfinding, is pretty bad.
Oh
That
yeah.
you get in the box. So you can't really make, like Pedro was saying, you can't make something that chases the player in a smart way, or anything. Like you can't make it so if the player walks in front of them, it'll start chasing them. They either have to be automatically running into walls trying to chase after the player, or just be standing still. And there was actually this game for the Game Boy Color. It was an RPG based on the first Harry Potter movie. It's not the best game overall, but they actually did a thing that was pretty clever because they couldn't do various sprites for things. They just had this kind of sparkly mass that represented an enemy, and what it would be was when in a dungeon, these these enemies were basically in kind of cramped spaces you had to go past to get through. So you could actually avoid them, but avoiding them would be a challenge because they were kind of floating around in a way in the hallway. So you had to be quick to get by them. So it would actually take skill to avoid the battle.
And that's a cool thing to do for, like, from a speedrun perspective. If you're skilled, you can avoid the random encounters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found the important document I was looking for, and I found the right page. So for those of you at home...
It's your birth record.
Hey, I was born in America, just like Obama. Anyhow.
What you're trying to insinuate there?
That he was born in America.
Whoa. Okay.
Anyway, so this important document I have in my hand is the game manual for the Final Fantasy Legend for the original Game Boy. And I am currently on page 50 because this was the cool thing about Final Fantasy Legend is this manual itself is 79 pages long.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I've talked about the manuals for the Legend games before. Basically, I view them as the gold standard, and they really tried to get you into the story. And how they did that was pages 49 through 78 are actually the story of a party getting through the game. They actually decided to turn that into a story to get you interested and to play. So what I found here is the party's first random encounter. The headline is Waylaid and Attacked. Sensing their youth and inexperience, a lone goblin attacked the party. Unfortunately, he underestimates their courage and the might of their weapons. They would not run from this fight. Only one side would remain. The party prepares for attack. The goblin would soon find out their true strength and might. And then it goes a little bit into how the battle goes. But anyway, once the goblin's dead, Alan searches through the goblin's belongings and finds 40 pieces of gold. Surely this bandit had struck travelers before to have such money. Continent would have one less villain in its borders now. So it was again and again. Continent had been so overrun with villainy that the party was attacked everywhere they traveled. Each time, through strength and determination, the party vanquished their foes. Soon their pouches were full of the criminals' money. Money they could put to good use when they reached the village. And that is how I grew up viewing random encounters. And I think it's good from a role-playing perspective to have random encounters in if you have that kind of introduction. It makes the world seem more alive even if it's an illusion. It helps make you feel like they're part of the experience. Now, having too many obviously would ruin that, but if you have a proper encounter rate, then they can feel like they're part of the story, even though it's just a random number generator saying, hey, you're fighting somebody now.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense in the era they're in, then yeah, I guess. The thing is, sometimes they don't. In the last dungeon of Final Fantasy IV, they had these giant Megazord-like robots.
Yeah,
it was just funny when I saw it.
Yeah, and FF7 has like the house, like the skeleton house that's an enemy.
I guess this
I remember
goes a bit
that.
off topic. But what you're talking about is also that's a good way to make a manual, or at least have the manual kind of seem like it's still within the lore of the game. That's a bit off topic, but like,
which they rarely do nowadays.
Yeah, they rarely even make actual manuals, but like, I kind of hate manuals that feel like I'm reading, like that I'm unintentionally reading like an instruction manual to building an IKEA chair.
Yeah.
I think like
I was pretty angry when I opened the MGS5 box I got and there was no manual there. I don't know. I just paid $160 for the thing. I want to at least have something to read.
Yeah.
Because it's
Didn't one of them come
160
with
where I live.
Didn't one of the Metal Gear Solid games come with like a full manga about it to read?
I don't know.
Oh, wait, no. It was that the instruction manual is formatted as a manga.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I think it was I think it was 2 or 1, but I think it is 2.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna admit that half of the games I had in my childhood, like the PS1 games, they were all pirated. I never saw a legit copy. I never saw a legit copy on sale here. It was all pirated.
Viva Brasilia.
Yeah.
Don't you guys... Didn't you still have the Sega Genesis being sold there until a couple years ago?
Yeah, we still have those. Shows how advanced we are.
That's awesome.
Not to mention Nintendo just sort of pulled the plug here, so they don't. I just saw Smash 4 on sale once, and it was like $200 here. So yeah, no way in hell I'm paying that.
And that's just the game. That's not the Wii U.
Yeah, the Wii U is like 1,000 here.
Jesus Christ.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I think we're falling off the topic of battle systems.
Yeah.
Do you guys... Well, I think we... do you guys have any advice to give to the people out there?
Don't put random encounters. They're shit.
Hey. What? I just dug up my fucking childhood to tell you that random encounters are okay, you prick.
Welcome.
encounters are shit.
Fuck you.
But no, do you guys have any overall advice to give?
Oh, I don't know, Karbonic. I'd say balance your battles. Know what you're doing. Like, oh, I can talk about Paper Mario for a second. Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi, they do a great job of balancing their battle systems because most battles, once you're leveled past, an area, they're over in 2 turns. They don't ever bore you. They make sure to let you grind through them really fast if you're skilled. So, understand what you're doing with your battle systems. There we go.
Yeah, one thing I don't like about Dream Team, I never played Paper Jam, but the thing about Dream Team is that some of the bros moves, no, it's bros attacks now, they took way too long, and I'm okay with games using QTEs as in to dodge and to enhance your attacks, but if it takes too long, it's just gonna get boring. Anyone here ever saw that game V was ironically shilling called Knuckle Sandwich?
No.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. It's
Where
very...
the mini games in the battle lasted like an hour, and it was just boring to watch.
Huh. Yeah, that's a very Earthbound inspired thing. I've been holding off on giving my blessing to that game just because I haven't seen much to separate it from Earthbound, but that could change. I'll keep my mind open about it.
Yeah. I don't really care about the nose thing. It's just, please don't make the battles boring. That ruins an RPG for me.
For those who don't know, up until recently, they actually removed this because people were complaining about it. The game in development, or just being released now, called Knuckle Sandwich, was all of the characters had what are commonly known as tumbler noses. So that actually got removed in an update recently because people had complained, and it actually does look a bit better, I think. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, Cody.
Yes.
That's not the advice I was talking about.
You see, I was waiting for you to do it, man. I was just laying out the carpet like, you want to do this, Carb?
Come on. Okay. Guys, what you need to do is you need to back your shit up. You need to you just
Make
need
your
to
games not
take
shit.
it slow. Don't go too fast, but you just got to take your USB dongle storage device and slowly but surely and gingerly place it into the USB slot. Now, you need
Are
to
we talking
transfer
about
as
porn now?
much data as you can while still not damaging your equipment. And you just need to do it as softly and gently as possible, and that's how you got to do it.
and you gotta fill it up till it's satisfied.
Yeah.
Are we talking about robot porn now?
Oh, also, don't be mean to people on the internet.
Yeah, be nice. Be ready to give and receive criticism. Don't be a dick about it.
Yeah, and if you are a dick, make sure you are the best game maker on the planet. Otherwise, you lose your license to be a dick.
Yeah, remember Phil Fish?
Who?
Yeah, you know Phil Fish. He's that guy who was in that movie with the sharks and oh wait, that's Will Smith. I feel like we're sort of winding down.
Dragging this out.
Yeah, I'm kind of podcasted out right now.
Okie dokie.
Alright, so
Alrighty then.
Alright, so with that, this has been the RPG Maker General Podcast with the rpgmgp. This is Cody signing off.
This is Pedro. I'm out.
This is Karbonic, and I am still searching for Scrimmy Bingus for the PS1. Thank you. Goodbye.